Hey everyone! Have you ever woken up to find your usual route out of your home blocked? That's exactly what happened to me. The Homeowners Association, HOA, decided to erect a fence across the only road I use to access my ranch, all in the name of enhancing property values. The catch? That road was on my land. If you're watching this from your kitchen, office, or sneaking a peek during an HOA meeting, drop a comment below. This is the story of how I turned their gate into a private toll road and made those overzealous HOA folks pay for their audacity. 3 years ago, I was Ethan Hayes, a 38-year-old software developer in downtown Seattle, coding for a tech giant and earning more than I knew what to do with. But city life, concrete, traffic, and endless deadlines left me yearning for the open spaces of my childhood on my parents' farm in eastern Washington. I started browsing rural real estate listings and found a 5-acre plot with a small farmhouse on the edge of Crestwood Estates, an upscale suburban development an hour from Seattle. It was perfect. Enough land for a garden, chickens, maybe even horses, yet close enough for remote work. The farmhouse needed TLC, but I had the funds and drive to make it my own. The real estate agent assured me that, despite being within Crestwood Estates' HOA boundaries, the property had an agricultural exemption due to its farming history. "You won't have to worry about their usual restrictions," she said. I should have demanded that in writing, but I was too thrilled to sweat the details. Within 2 months, I'd moved in, fixed up the farmhouse, built a chicken coop, planted vegetables, and planned a small stable. My neighbor, Clara Thompson, a 65-year-old widow who'd lived there for over 40 years, was delighted. "It's about time someone brought life back to this land," she said, handing me homemade bread and jam. This area was all farms before the fancy folks arrived. The only access to my property was a 200-meter private road connecting to Crestwood's main street, a road predating the development. I didn't think much of it until 6 months in. I received an official letter from the Crestwood Estates HOA. It outlined strict community standards, lawn maintenance, approved paint colors, restrictions on visible equipment that made my farming impossible. It ended with a chilling line: "We look forward to your prompt compliance." I tossed it in the trash. My land, my rules. But that was just the start of a battle I never anticipated. Soon, violation notices piled up. My unsightly chicken coop, my visible vegetable garden, my unapproved fence design. Fines escalated. $100, $250, $500. They cited my roosters crowing as excessive animal noises and called my compost pile an environmental hazard, despite it being well-maintained and far from neighbors. One notice even flagged my green garden hose for not being an approved earth tone. It felt like harassment, not enforcement. I attended an HOA meeting at their lavish clubhouse dressed in jeans and flannel. The room fell silent as I entered, eyes glaring like I'd brought a pig inside. During public comments, I calmly explained that my agricultural exemption allowed my farming activities, but board members shook their heads. One in a preppy sweater muttered, "We don't need barnyard animals in Crestwood. This isn't rural Kentucky." The crowd snickered. Reason wasn't going to work here. Digging into my property documents, I found a troubling clause. While my land was exempt from agricultural restrictions, I was still subject to vague aesthetic and community standards. The HOA was exploiting this ambiguity. A lawyer friend warned that fighting them could be costly and protracted. "They'll drag it out in court for years," he said. Meanwhile, strangers photographed my property. My mailbox was knocked over, and someone let my chickens loose. When I confronted the HOA, their president, Margaret Langley, a 52-year-old former real estate manager with a perpetually smug demeanor, denied involvement. "Perhaps if your property met our standards, these incidents wouldn't happen," she said with a cold smile. The harassment escalated. A car horn blared at 3 a.m. My berry bushes were trampled. A dead rat appeared on my porch, and my security cameras were spray-painted black. Clara confirmed my suspicions, whispering, "I saw that HOA manager, Stephen, snooping around your place with a man in a suit, pointing and taking notes." The HOA's lawyer, Gregory Walsh, a slick 45-year-old, sent threatening letters claiming my violations could lead to liens or a forced sale, with fines now at $15,000. Door to door, appeals to neighbors yielded little. Most were too scared to challenge the HOA's culture of fear. Then one Tuesday morning, I found a metal fence blocking my road with a sign reading, "Private area, Crestwood Estates, residents only." The gate was locked, cutting me off from my home. Furious, I nearly rammed it with my F-250 but held back, knowing it would play into their hands. Instead, I called Sheriff Daniel Brooks, who arrived, examined the situation, and called it a civil dispute. The HOA claimed the road was their common area. "You'll need to resolve this in court," he said, helping me climb the fence with my groceries but unable to intervene further. At the HOA office, Margaret and Stephen Carter, a 40-year-old ex-military operations manager, doubled down. Margaret calmly stated the road was under their jurisdiction, offering a key fob for a $500 monthly security fee. When I called it extortion, she suggested I find another route or sell my land to developers. Stephen's smirk hinted at a larger scheme. That night, I pored over my survey map and discovered the road was entirely on my property. The HOA had built their gate on my land without permission. Armed with this, I met Margaret and Gregory again, showing them the survey. Gregory, unfazed, claimed adverse possession due to years of HOA use. I countered that adverse possession required 7 years of non-permissive use, and my ownership was less than a year old. With prior easements granted, Gregory's expression darkened. They hadn't expected me to know the law. Margaret offered to remove the gate temporarily, but Gregory later cornered me. Warning, sell the ranch. Hayes will outlast you in court. That's when I hatched a plan. If they wanted to play dirty, I'd turn their gate into my toll road. I enlisted Sophia Bennett, a 32-year-old property lawyer with a personal vendetta against HOAs after her parents lost their home in 2008. "Your case is strong," she said, noting the road's clear ownership. She suggested taking control of the gate and charging a toll, as it was my private road. "Courts rarely grant injunctions unless there's immediate harm," she said. "This will pressure them." I also recruited Lucas Grant, a 45-year-old mechanic who'd clashed with HOAs before. He built a sophisticated gate system with a card scanner, cameras, and solar power to prevent tampering. Sophia filed for a business license for Hayes, Private Road, LLC, and sent a legal notice demanding the HOA remove their fence. We installed the toll booth at dawn, with signs announcing a $10 daily access fee for non-residents. Lucas added surveillance cameras to catch any vandalism. I contacted Rachel Kim, a local journalist, who wrote a viral article, "Lone Farmer versus Powerful HOA. Who owns the road?" Social media erupted, with people sharing their own HOA horror stories. I launched a website and YouTube channel, documenting the HOA's violations and my farm's charm, hitting 100,000 views in days. Clara became a local star, telling Rachel, "These HOA folks have gotten too big for their britches. Time someone stood up." The HOA hired a PR firm, claiming I was a troublemaker endangering property values, but their polished statements fell flat against my authentic story. They filed complaints with county departments, but my permits were solid and inspections cleared me. Local businesses rallied. A farm store offered free chicken feed, a cafe named a breakfast after me, and a real estate firm endorsed my rights. Mayor Thomas Reed, a 60-year-old politician, proposed mediation to avoid alienating voters before elections. At City Hall, I presented my case, but Gregory produced a temporary restraining order from Judge Brennan, halting my toll booth until the road's ownership was resolved. Sophia whispered, "Brennan favors developers, but we'll contest this." Rachel's next scoop revealed a bombshell. The HOA, led by Margaret, was colluding with Richard, Dalton's Wesley development, to turn my land into a luxury resort. Discovery uncovered emails showing Margaret accepted bribes to solve the Ethan Hayes problem for a 6-figure commission and a VP role. The plan, Cooper Ranch Resort, needed my land for a golf course and restaurant. In court, Judge Elizabeth Carter, a no-nonsense 62-year-old, heard our evidence. Former board members admitted Margaret's manipulations, and financial records exposed payments from Dalton. The judge ruled the road was mine, ordered the HOA to pay damages for trespassing and harassment, and referred Margaret, Gregory, and others for criminal investigation. Margaret resigned, Gregory lost his license, and Dalton's empire crumbled under scrutiny. The new HOA president, Robert Daniels, a retired engineer, recognized my exemption and embraced my farm as a community asset. I dismantled the toll booth in a ceremony, attended by supporters and reformed Crestwood residents. My farm grew with a community garden and weekend markets. Sophia, now my girlfriend, moved in. Rachel's reporting won awards, sparking HOA reform, including the proposed Hayes Act to curb HOA abuses. A year later, I hosted a farm festival, with Clara teaching kids about worming about chickens, Sophia discussing the Hayes Act with Judge Carter, and Sheriff Brooks joking with Lucas. The gate stood open, a symbol of respect, not coercion. Real communities are built on understanding, not rules. If you're facing your own battle, remember, winning is about persistence and turning barriers into opportunities. Must subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thank you.